I think with him being inconsiderate a lot of times, he'll commit to do an interview sometime and then he'll change his mind when they get there and he won't do it.
Believe it or not, Deion is not speaking with the media here.
In a world where people confuse merely calling attention to yourself with style, where they confuse obnoxiousness with wit, that stuff flies. Some people haven't completely lost their minds yet, and so they sneer at that kind of stuff.
Across the country, fans soon lashed out at Deion as well. For years, Deion had courted the spotlight. Now the glare was blinding.
You were always on camera, you was always in the spotlight, and you were always seen, and they thought they knew you.
Back up, people! Don't crowd him.
It was outside the game where you get pounded, you know, and he grew tired of the pounding from the media.
What Deion Sanders' appeal should be is remarkable, startling athletic ability.
He's off to the races! He's at the 50! He's at the 40! Kiss him goodbye, baby!
The appeal of this ridiculous, crass, neon Deion character is just a reflection of how mindless the whole sports culture has become.
In 1994, hoping a change of scenery would take the heat off, Deion moved to San Francisco and signed with the 49ers.
I really wanted to win. I wanted to be associated with a winner because I wasn't used to losing, and Atlanta was trying to get me used to losing.
In San Francisco, Deion began to play with a fury fans and announcers had never seen before.
Deion's giving that whole field left hook. Did you see that? That's a classic.
In 1995, Deion's intensity carried him and the 49ers to the top. During his first Super Bowl, Primetime had an interception, and the Niners destroyed the Chargers. But Deion's Super Bowl victory was an empty one. Deion's father, Daddy Buck, had died of a brain tumor and wasn't there to share in his son's greatest triumph.
The night we won the Super Bowl in San Francisco, I was the first one out of the locker room, the first one home, the first one to bed. And I said, it ain't what I thought it was. Yeah, I'm not even happy.
Coming up, Deion tries to end it all.
My attorney had prophesied that I would commit suicide.
And later, Primetime embarks on the path to salvation.
Now it's gonna get tough because you're changing teams. You've been traded from the devil's team to God's team.
Picked off by Deion Sanders.
In 1995, Deion Sanders' move to the San Francisco 49ers had paid off. In his first season in the Bay Area, Deion won his first Super Bowl. But just months after the victory, Deion followed the money into Dallas, tying the knot with the Cowboys for football and the Cincinnati Reds for baseball. He also tied the knot with his longtime girlfriend, Carolyn, the mother of his two children, Deandra and Deion Jr. Deion surprised Carolyn with a wedding ring and a private ceremony during a vacation in Lake Tahoe. After nearly a decade together, the couple was still inseparable.
I went on all the road trips. The guys would get mad because I would be the only woman there. And they didn't like that, but he said, no, my baby's coming.
But Carolyn felt the couple's new move to Dallas was not good for their new marriage.
Everybody loves their Cowboys in Texas. When we got to Texas, the team was such a funny team because they didn't want the wives to do anything. They always had their girlfriends with them. Like when they went to the Super Bowl in Phoenix, the wives couldn't come until Thursday. And he said it wasn't what he wanted, but they took a vote in the locker room.
Dallas won the Super Bowl, but like the year before with San Francisco, for Deion Sanders, it was a hollow victory.
And he thought, well, maybe if I accomplish a little more, maybe if I do a little more, I can find this happiness. But it wasn't there with each accomplishment, and so it began to get a little hollow for him.
The more successful Deion became, the more he lived the lifestyle of his self-centered alter ego, Primetime.
Primetime, primetime,
Primetime.
With the help of his friend rapper MC Hammer, Deion made an effort to break into the music business. Deion began traveling and touring as a rap singer, gaining a reputation as a womanizer.
You know, he did that rap album, going on tour, you know, doing little nightclubs. And I would ask him, well, Deion, why can't I go? But they had these dancers from the different strip clubs, and they were all on the bus together, you know, with Deion and doing, you know, I don't know what, but he didn't want me around.
My thing was fornication. My thing was having sex with many women. And, you know, I didn't discriminate.
That was his fetish, and of course, I'm not blind. It would be when the lights are out and the other one is either gone or asleep that all these things would occur.
He would call and say, hey man, what you doing? I said, nothing. He said, but I'm taking a bath. And then he said, y'all say hi. Hey, I need a permission slip from Deion to tell y'all some of the things.
Like some men, the more women you can get, it's a challenge, it's a challenge to him. And it was always one woman after another.
Money is only gonna make you more of whom you really are. If you're a drunk, broke, you're gonna be a drunk with money. If you're a drug addict with broke, you're gonna be a drug addict with money. And if you're a whoremonger broke, you're gonna be a whoremonger with money.
We had a beautiful relationship in the beginning. I mean, it was everything anybody would want, but we grew in different directions, and he wanted something else.
In 1997, Carolyn filed for divorce and gained custody of the children.
Deion, I believe, felt a mixture of guilt that he couldn't be the faithful husband that he wanted to be at that time.
Deion's failures as a husband and father, combined with the recent death of his own father, Daddy Buck, sent him into a deep depression.
Seeing your children stripped away from you, then now you're going to thinking, okay, oh, now I'm going to be just like Daddy Buck. I'm going to be on the other side of town and my kids right here, but we're not together.
On May 28, 1997, while playing for the Cincinnati Reds, Deion says his depression turned suicidal. Deion's manager, Eugene Parker, was living in Indianapolis when he got a call from Deion in Cincinnati. Eugene got in his car and drove more than 100 miles to Deion's apartment. But when Eugene got there, instead of finding his friend, he says he discovered a suicide note.
I opened the envelope that was addressed to me, basically giving me his last wishes, how he wanted his funeral to go and where he wanted certain personal items to go.
Deion was heading north on a darkened Interstate 75 at the Ohio-Kentucky border. Deion pulled off the road, got out of his car, and thought about his final move. Then he stepped back inside, revved up his engine, and floored it, his Mercedes tumbling over an embankment.
I got to the bottom of that fall off and was still alive. And I'm like, Lord, you saved me. I'm still failing. I'm a failure at committing suicide. And that was something.
Coming up, Deion's moment of truth.
All of us have to go home once in a while, look in the mirror and say, man, do you like what you see? Are you happy with what you see?
Since I turned pro in 1989, when I signed the dotted line, it was strange. Most things changed for the better and for the worse.
10 years of living life in the fast lane had taken its toll on Deion Sanders. The death of his father, combined with the failure of his marriage, and losing custody of his children, had pushed Deion Sanders over the edge. In May of 1997, Deion tried to kill himself. But 4 days after rolling his car over an embankment, Deion says his prayers for deliverance were answered.
It was really, really, really bright. I mean, the lightest white that you could think of, and it was windy, and wind was just gusting through my room. And I can remember falling on my knees saying, Lord, if that's you, take me, take me. I felt like arms were just covering me, and the hands of God was just all around me.
Deion vowed to change his wild ways.
And I went through a purging process, whereas everything that was not connected to the Lord, I asked him to shake my tree. And everything wasn't connected would soon fall off. Friends fell. Family members fell. Lifestyle fell. A lot of women fell.
One woman who stood tall was the new love in Deion's life, a model and actress named Pilar Biggers. Pilar shared Deion's faith in God and in his destiny.
It's like a triangle, so to speak. He and I are the two corners, the two opposite corners, and it's God that pulls us together right at the top. He's the glue to our relationship. He's our foundation.
This is my partner. This is my folk. This is my people. I'm talking Ebonics now. This is my loved one. This is my friend. Is also my wife.
On May 21st, 1999, Deion and Pilar were married in a small ceremony in the Bahamas by their mutual friend Bishop Jakes. Since the wedding, Deion has forged a strong bond with his pastor.
It would be too late for Brother Deion to start now. He would come to Bible class, and little by little, he would make the transitions, maybe stopping by my office for a few moments after church, or dropping by the house.
He's grown and matured so much as a man. I mean, it's just, if you can only imagine watching a child grow.
During counseling with Bishop Jakes, Deion began to separate the character called Primetime from the character within himself.
And it came to a point in his life that Primetime was slowly killing Deion Sanders. And I think it was important to him to reconcile the difference between being a personality and being a person.
Deion, the man, wrestled with what every true megastar wrestles with, and that is balancing the two worlds. When the lights go out and you're at home, it's very difficult for those around you to relate to you outside of that which you have created for television.
You're dealing with an identity crisis. Deion has finally begun to separate from Primetime.
After a formal baptism at the hands of Bishop Jakes, Deion's faith grew stronger. He became eager to share the lessons he'd learned with others. The pupil became the preacher.
Money was my drug. The more I made, the more I wanted. It was addiction.
I wanted to tell people the story because I know so many people go through what I've been through, or so many people want the things I had: power, money, and sex.
I thought all these things could fill my cup, but now my cup runneth over.
His life is much fuller now. There's more to him than the field.
Deion retired from the NFL in 2001 after spending just one season with the Washington Redskins. He was working in broadcasting in 2004 when the Baltimore Ravens lured him out of retirement. Deion played 2 years with the Ravens before retiring again at the age of 39. In all, he spent a remarkable 14 seasons in the NFL and 9 in Major League Baseball.
The thing that stands out about Deion that I've learned from him is his incredible ability to focus on the task at hand and tune out everything else. And that's a big reason why he's very successful.
Despite his fame, Deion says he no longer believes his own press. He's learned where prime time ends and real life begins.
He's learning more and more how to use that primetime charisma in a way that's going to be uplifting and positive, and yet not in a manipulative way to try and gain something for himself.
I'm a peaceful man. Look at me. I'm serious. I have a good time. It's ironic that when you're unsaved, you wouldn't even think or fathom the idea that you could have more fun on this side of the fence.
With a new family and a new game plan, Deion Sanders has finally found the kind of peace in life that money can't buy.
Now, all of us have to go home once in a while and look in the mirror and say, man, do you like what you see? Are you happy with what you see?
He knows who he is, he knows whose he is, and he's very peaceful. He knows what his purpose is in life.
He stepped up to the plate as being a man, as being the man of our house, as being the head of our household.
He's in that daily fight that all Christians have to live life right. You didn't like him then, and you don't like him now. You just hated him in the first place.
I don't care about the money. I don't care about the many accolades that I've received. I want to be known as a God-fearing Christian father.